Welcome to the MSP Corner podcast. Before we kick off our show, we would like to share what our main objective is at the MSP Corner. Our main goal is to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We are not just providing tools for IT firms, we will be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm stays on track. The first area we are focused on, strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support. We will provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an added value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle in is marketing. 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. The third component to our package, scaling. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. The fourth area we will offer help in, selecting the right tools. In order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. The fifth area we will offer help in is with documentation. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to our next podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gregory Morabiec. And today's guest is Biz Marketing Pros. But before we start any show, we always have a very short agenda. And on that agenda, well, I'm going to do a quick intro on Jonathan Sherman and his business, Biz Marketing Pros. And then on the agenda, well, we're going to ask him some questions on, his services on marketing, SEO, PPC, and analytics that are key performance indicators you guys need to track. And then we'll, at the end there, we'll provide a website or URL for Jonathan's website. So. But thanks again for joining us, and let's just dive right into it. And today we have Jonathan Sherman. He's the founder and director of marketing at Biz Marketing Pros, a digital marketing agency. They provide targeted website traffic and high-valued leads for SMB businesses. And a little bit about his company. Well, they provide, like I was saying, targeted website traffic. And their goal is they want to accomplish this by applying an omni-channel marketing strategy tailored for each business that may include pay-per-click, ads, whether it's LinkedIn or Google, because you do need some type of lead generation. Then they also work on your social media marketing campaigns, email campaigns, content creation, and distribution. Plus, they also will provide website conversion rate optimization and last, search engine optimization. Jonathan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you making time for us. So let's just get into it. I understand you were the principal marketing agency for Intiva, right? They're a top-ranked MSP during their rapid 2-year growth phase from 25 million to 60 million in annual revenue.
What did your agency do to help propel that growth? Because that's a pretty impressive number. You know, that you doubled their revenue in less than two
Yeah,
years. That's
yeah.
impressive.
It was a team effort, right? I mean, we were the marketing agency. They had a sales team and they had automation behind the scenes that allowed us to pour gasoline on the flames there, right?
Yeah.
So we worked hand in hand with the director of marketing at Intiva. And what we did is we developed sustainable lead generation funnels for them. And basically, lead generation funnel, it's made up of two parts, right? You have to have the traffic, low cost traffic, and then you have to have high converting landing pages. So, those were the two elements that we worked on for them. And so you may ask, how do we get the traffic? How do we get low cost traffic? Well, that was two parts. One was the SEO, and the other part was the PPC, the pay per click ads. On SEO, they are ranked currently, one, two, three, four, and five for some very difficult keywords. And we engineered their site and their marketing so that they would appear in Google search for those keywords. So in SEO, we optimized their service pages. We helped them create blog content and also optimize existing blog content. On PPC, we did cold traffic through Google and Microsoft. And we also did retargeting ads on Google and Microsoft to throw warm traffic to people that visited the website. And then we did this in, we tried to create a synergy with the SEO so that we would pick keywords in our PPC that were that supported our SEO efforts. So we did that. And then I guess lastly, you could say, we conversion rate optimized landing pages and worked with them on lead magnets. And lead magnets are super important. It's basically the offer. The offer in marketing, everything starts with the offer. And
Yeah.
in this case, it's the lead magnet, right? So their lead magnets were things like checklists that we worked with them on, cybersecurity threat reports, IT readiness scorecards, that kind of thing. So yeah, so that's what we did for them as an agency.
I like the checklist angle. I really like that. We're starting something up like that ourselves. But let me ask you a quick question on the keywords. What made you guys determine, hey, these are the keywords we're going to focus on? Right. I know I'm going off topic here a little bit, but I just want
Yeah,
to jump on a on some topics that I'm very familiar with SEO and PPC and all that. But we
sure.
have our own framework we follow when we determine, okay, we're going to focus on these keywords because we're able to we've determined that there's demand. There's demand for those keywords. Did you guys have that same approach to with Intivia?
Yeah, well, the very first thing we did was we looked at what keywords were they ranking for already on their site, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we did a comprehensive report. Okay, what keywords are they ranking for? And we focused in on the keywords that are in the top 20. So those are the easiest ones to move up, right? So, already they're already maybe ranking for, some in the top five. Well, that's great. Well, what about the ones 6 to 20? Which ones there are getting the most search volume, and which ones there should we focus our efforts on first? So it's kind of like the low hanging fruit approach, right? So that's how we decided at the outset. We decided how to target keywords, which keywords to target, and then there's a whole gap analysis too. What are they missing? That's a separate project, right? But the initial effort is strictly on, okay, what keywords can we help to move along here?
You know, I like that. I like that approach. But let me ask: did they focus on a handful of industries, or did they decide, okay, we're going to just target 1 to 3 industries? What was their approach on in that area?
They didn't have an industry focus. Now, mind you, they did have efforts underway to target industries that were in heavy need of IT support. Like at the time, they were focused on defense contractors because there was a big push in Washington to have defense contractors come up to speed on security and other factors. And so they internally they hired an expert in the defense legislation, and they became a consultant for IT consultant for defense contractors, and then they would upgrade the defense contractor systems to become compliant with the Washington D.C. legislation. So they were very much they would try to find pockets of opportunity, and it wasn't so much they were industry focused so much as opportunity focused.
Interesting. It's funny you say. Have you ever read the book Blue Oceans?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't actually read it from cover to cover.
It just talks about exactly what you just said. There's an IT service industry out there, and they decided, you know what? Let's go after this market. It's new. It's going to be in high demand, and they decided this is what's going to generate a lot of revenue. And they were right. I love it. That's a great strategy to go after that industry, because you're right. The DoD is really strict when it comes to security, because we have our own clients that we're working with also. So we understand that market. We understand the demands, the compliance frameworks they got to follow. So it's a very strict framework that we have to enforce. So I love it. That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you mentioned that SEO. I think that SEO. I want you to talk a little bit more about SEO, because it was a key element in driving Intiva's growth. Can you expand on what you did or what your firm did to help them? Because if I did a search for you right now, Jonathan, anywhere in the world, we rank as the number 1 or 2 organic choice for like 10 to 15 keywords, because we understand our audience's biggest challenges. So we focus on these keywords. Did you guys, when it came to SEO, did you guys do anything outside the norm other than content creation? Because we approach it from several ways. We have our blog creation, case study creation. We have our video. We create a lot of videos, right? We have a YouTube channel. What am I missing when it comes to SEO? Do you have a secret weapon that you implemented to help with that SEO optimization?
Well, we did, understand that, you started doing the SEO how many years ago? Was it 10, 15 years ago?
That's right. That's right.
Right. So you probably developed an authority site that Google recognized early on. You have the longevity. You have the built-in advantage that companies now, when they're trying to do this, they're faced with a lot more competition than you were probably faced with when you started doing this. And also you have the time element that's worked in your favor. So like with Intiva, for example, they were nowhere on the map for cybersecurity services and when we joined with them. And now they're ranked in the top 5 for that. And so to accomplish that in just a short period of a couple of years, we really had to engineer their pages and really their entire website so that Google would see their content as highly relevant to search queries. So for example, the first thing we did with them when we started with them is a content audit, right? Where we would look at the website analytics to see where traffic was going to and which pages were converting and which pages were getting a lot of bounces and people weren't spending a lot of time on. And then we're looking at inbound links to their website to see, okay, what's the quality of the inbound links, the number of inbound links to these pages? Because obviously Google, they look at inbound links as an important measure of, is this thing important, right? So,
Yeah.
and then we looked at comparisons to competitor websites, right, to uncover ranking opportunities for existing content. So those were the big things we looked at initially, kind of this big content audit, right? Then after that, we would do the keyword research to uncover what new content should be created. So, okay, I've mentioned this before, they're already ranking for certain content. What kind of holes are there? What kind of blog content, what kind of service pages content should they create? Because really an IT firm has well, they have several types of pages, but the two major content types of pages are the blog pages and the service pages. And they may have other things like podcasts and things like that, or video content, but typically those are the two main content areas. And the other thing you have to look at is ease of navigation. How deep is the content on the site? You have to go down 3, 4, 5 layers deep to find the content. So we help them fix a couple of those issues, adjust some of that so their content was closer to the surface for the search engines to find.
Nice.
And then so after the content audit, you have all that done. You also need to do a technical audit, technical SEO audit, where we'd had a 34-point checklist where we looked at all kinds of obscure things like open graph tags, CSS redirects, JavaScript redirects, which pages maybe were no index, which pages were orphan pages that had no incoming links, that kind of thing. So we went through a 34-point checklist, and we did that every month for them because we were very active in creating new blog content, new content on their site, and they were on HubSpot, and so they were constantly adjusting things, and things were always getting out of skew and broken. So they assigned a person on their team that would fix these problems on a monthly basis, the ones we uncovered every month for them. So that was really important too for staying, looking like your site is healthy for Google. And part of that is also looking at the Google Search Console. That was part of the ingredients there too, just seeing how Google perceived the site on their own Search Console. So then after that technical audit, we also prepared a monthly schedule of the priority pages on their website and what they needed, content improvement, which priority pages needed inbound links, these were, again, pages that we identified as having the highest potential for traffic that were also the easiest to rank keywords for. So that's kind of and also from a business priority standpoint, Antiva really wanted their IT consulting page to rank really high. They wanted their cybersecurity services page to rank really high. So that certainly played a part too. It wasn't just what was easy, but also what was necessary. And then the other thing is to optimize page content. We created custom software to automate checking Antiva's existing web pages against competitor web pages in order to make recommendations for content improvement. And so, there are pages obviously that were ranking better than us. And so what are they doing different? What do we need to do? What are we missing? So that was really key too, was automating that part of the content analysis, because doing it by hand was took too much time. It was really impossible to do. So we came up with software to automate doing that for us. And then with inbound link planning, you can't just throw a bunch of links at a site, right? We're very purposeful in finding the right third-party websites for publishing articles and other content with links back to Antiva. So we would look for sites, big blog sites, big article sites that were in the good graces of Google, that Google saw as high authority. We used those. And also, we looked at sites that were industry sites that had content that were pointing back to Antiva. So we were very purposeful in finding the right kind of sites. And then there's another really important ingredient, that is anchor text, right? All those links have anchor text. And we did a detail, every single anchor text we picked was a thorough thought process. We did research and planning to figure out, okay, what percentage of anchor text should we have on this page, for this page, for these links, for this backlinks to this page, what kind of anchor text should we have, and the number and the ratio of exact anchor text, exact anchor variants, other kind of text, and then the text that was just synergistic text, that wasn't a keyword, exact keyword match. So we had very specific percentages for each one of those, and we maintained a log of that, and that's how we planned our anchor text. And then the other thing, maybe the last thing we did, was we reviewed content on third-party sites. So not just content that we created, but we'd go out and we'd look to see, like on Wikipedia, for example, what was written there, and then we would try to edit and reach out and change content to magnify the results and update results and get the kind of the best gasoline we could for the keywords we wanted to promote.
You know, it's I'm yeah, no, I'm a big believer in that whole strategy there. Let's jump to PPC ads because you had you said you wanted to discuss PPC ads. Did you guys specifically, well, did you just use Google AdWords or did you focus on LinkedIn ads? Or was there another platform did you get that you guys leveraged to generate new opportunities?
Yeah, for Entiva at the time, the best solution. I'm not saying today this is going to be the best solution, but at the time, the best solution was strictly Google and Microsoft ads, Bing ads,
Okay.
and keyword driven Bing ads and Google ads. So what we did there is, I mentioned before that we used our PPC ads to supplement and kind of work in synergy with our SEO campaigns. So many of our search queries related to our SEO campaigns.
Uh-huh.
And we already covered that. Instead of PPC ads for just general IT services, we narrowed in on specific solutions Entiva could provide in targeted industries. And one of the examples, we had was the defense contractor industry, right? So we did IT consulting for defense contractors, IT consulting for a specific regulatory need. And that was important because it was something that was more narrowly focused and the cost per click was lower. And we also had a solution that not everybody had in the marketplace. So we could increase our conversion rate and lower our cost that way. And so the other thing, we, like I said, it was like synergy with the SEO because people were seeing the Entiva name just doing Google search results, and then they were seeing it again with our PPC ads. And so obviously the number of impressions people get on a brand, the more likely they are to just be familiar with it and interact with it and buy from it, right? So that was kind of the synergistic, lowering the cost of everything, working everything together. And then the other thing, which I'm sure is it was with PPC, it was really important that we planned the funnel journey, right? So the ads, the lander, the call to action, they all needed to carry very similar messaging. And so we had, dozens and dozens of landers to work with all the different ads that we were using so that there was like a smooth journey from ad to lander to call to action.
What's a lander? I've never heard that term.
Oh, lander is landing page. Landing page.
Oh, landing page. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
lander. I call it lander, but landing page, right? Lander. You don't like the UFO lands on the moon.
Yeah, we used to run our own PPC ads, and we saw a lot of success with landing pages, but we just decided to focus just on SEO. I mean, SEO is a lot. I mean, it's free. SEO is free. You just have to create content. So, but yeah, love PPC, but it is expensive. And go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to interject there is that SEO is free to a point. SEO is free when you have a lot of time on your hands and you can create authority and build it over time. And you will get lucky, and from time to time, a piece of content will just hit and Google will love it. And you can engineer content, obviously, to try to make it so that Google loves it. But if you don't have inbound links to that content, if you're not an authority site, if your site is full of problems, technical issues, and all this kind of stuff, if it's slow, you have a lot of bad pages that or bad links, I should say, that go nowhere, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that go into getting content to rank well. It's not just let's write a great piece and put it up and cross our fingers.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it in a short period of time, it's not going to be free because you gotta pay to get those get everything in place, right? You gotta pay for all the work that has to get done to have it happen fast. So if you don't mind waiting a long time and just creating a lot of content, yeah, eventually you'll get the authority and things will start to rank. But if you want it faster, it's going to cost a little bit of money.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree. How long did you see SEO take for your or Intiva? How long did that take? How long do you see? What's the what do you typically see? Where do you see the performance start to increase when with SEO? What's your typical timeline?
Well, we targeted, like I said, we target at first low hanging fruit. So low hanging fruit, we can start to rank in 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so we targeted stuff that was already 6 to 20, and so to get them into the 5 range. And so, we moved that pretty fast. But brand new, like cybersecurity services, for example, that took 6 to 9 months before they started to rank in the top 10.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I usually tell my people that I talk to about marketing is that it's going to take you a while. It's going to take. I typically like to keep it 9 to 12 months because you tell them 6 months and they're going to expect 4.
Right, right, right,
That's
right.
how they.
Yeah.
That's how they think. But yeah, because I get a lot of people asking me about, how did we rank so high? But I tell you, yeah. I agree with you. You got your on page SEO, and then you have your off page SEO, and you have to have everything lined up. But I do work with this group that I've been working with. They've been doing our SEO for 10 years now, and they've done a phenomenal job. But SEO, you still need to build those backlinks. You need to have, and they need to be quality. They just can't be any backlinks, because if you do garbage backlinks, you're gonna get, Google's gonna frown on you. So
Yeah. They, officially that's true. Or officially they ignore the garbage backlinks, but I wouldn't want to put it up there for sure.
yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
They want things to look natural and organic, and so you have to engineer everything so that your anchor text that comes back looks natural and everything else looks natural and organic.
Yep, yep, nope, I agree. Greg, do you have any questions?
No, it's all very educational. I'm learning.
Yeah, I was going to ask about, you did mention analytics and key performance indicators, right? I wanted to, you did say that you guys were keeping very close eyes on what web pages were performing, what keywords were performing. Anything else that people should look out for when it comes to analytics?
Yeah, well, for organic search, the first thing is just unique visitors, right? How many unique visitors are you getting for on different pages, right? So are your efforts paying off? So you can see in using software like Ahrefs, for example, what kind of ranking you're getting on different keywords. But your analytics is going to show your unique visitors to your pages. So that's the first thing is tracking unique visitors.
Yep.
And so that's important. The other thing is critical is form completions, right? Are you booking consultations? Are you getting contact info put in? Are people downloading the lead magnets? So that's the other critical thing is form completions. In other words, is the traffic you're getting targeted traffic? Is it the right kind of people? And so that's really important. The paid search, it's really important to know the cost of a booked call, right? So you want to figure out how you're going to track that and measure that, so that your paid search is getting good ROI. And then it's important, from an agency standpoint, we kept open lines of communication with the director of marketing and the sales team there, so that we knew how the sales volume was going for the leads they were generating. Because especially in the regulatory, in the DoD space, there was all these things, or changes happening. Every few quarters, there'd be another little change, another little something coming out of Washington, and people would say, "Oh, I can postpone this a little bit. Oh no, I got to hurry up. Oh, I can postpone a little bit." And so we'd have these waves and ebbs in the PPC advertising of, "Oh, things are working really great now. Oh, things aren't working so great now," And so it was important to stay in tune with the sales team so that we knew when to take the foot off the accelerator. And the other thing was, yeah, we also gave Intiva monthly reports on their web page ranking for all the relevant search terms, and we gave detailed reports about the inbound links we're generating and the external articles we were publishing, and of course we had the monthly technical audit that we were doing, and they also had access to our project calendar so they could see in real time what we were working on.
You know, yeah, no, that those are great. Those are numbers I definitely have to consider. But talking to the sales team, that's great. Great communicate. I mean, you got to collaborate with them, right? Because if they can't handle the traffic coming in from leads, so they're gonna miss out on it's not a good look on the sales team.
Right. And the sales team was finding too, some of these DoD contracts were, tens of thousands of dollars a month, and 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 the lead times varied, right? And so if people could put off that investment, if companies could put off that investment, they would, right?
Yeah,
So it was very much tied to regulations coming out of Washington and what the tone was there.
nice, nice. I think that's yeah. Gregory is very familiar with that whole DoD. He's CMMC certified, so I take it you're not working with Intiva anymore.
No, we worked for them for a total of 19 months was the exact number. And then what happened was that we grew ourselves out of a business, right? They got a private equity investment, and the private equity firm had their own internal marketing team. And so we were put on the chopping block.
Ah, wow. Yeah, that sucks. I know when you deliver that much results, that really stinks. It's like, man, we got you guys so much new business, and then they just let you go like that. That sucks.
Yeah, it sucked pretty much. We weren't very happy, and they weren't happy either. I mean, the owner was happy because he got a big payday, but I don't think the director of marketing was necessarily happy going with a brand new organization like that.
Yeah, that's. I'll tell you. We have these discussions all the time. What's more important, sales or marketing? And I always say marketing is going to be the most important component in your entire business. You can have the best techs in the world, the best salespeople in the world, but if no one is knocking on your door, you're gonna have to close your doors because who are you gonna sell to? Who are you gonna support? So marketing is by far the most important component for any. I don't know if you feel the same way, Jonathan. I think that people are going to say, well, you're biased because you're a marketing person.
Well,
I'm not a
I'm
marketing
gonna,
person.
well, you're in a unique position to measure that, really, because you're both sales and marketing, right? So you're in a unique position to measure that. I think there is some variance between industries. I don't think you can't do one without the other. But I think maybe certain industries sales is perhaps a little more important than marketing, but you can't do without. They're hand in hand, right? They work hand in hand.
Yes, no, I agree. I think that you definitely, especially in our business, we're a very unique industry because we're given all the trust. They're giving us the keys to the kingdom. It's a very trust build type of industry because um, we've got to have credibility before we go in and take care of somebody's network. Because if you can't take care of the network, their business is going to fail. So there's a lot of trust in that, and so it's a very very tough sell. It's tough, and but yeah, I'd rather have a lot of at bats, right? A lot of leads coming in, and me striking out because I'll learn how to hit that home run. If I get a lot of at bats, I'm going to eventually hit a home run, and then once I hit that home run, I'm like, okay, let's duplicate that stance, that swing, that hand to eye ball coordination. So I get it. I get it. It's I stand pretty firmly on leads coming in because if they dry up and you have no more leads coming in, your growth is going to come to a stall. It's going to get
Right.
stalled. So always, you got to always be marketing. So let me ask you real quick about email marketing. How do you feel about email marketing? We just did okay. So let me ask you something. Let me get that because we want to get a third party's input. We just had a webinar with one of our partners, and we were marketing. We sent out emails. We have a list with about 22,000 CEOs of MSPs. Okay, we belong to several MSP groups where we produced videos, social media, posts, all that to drive traffic to this webinar. What is a good? How many registered? How many registers should we have? What's a good number? Would you say, okay, that's a decent number, or this is an excellent number, and this is how many people should show up? What do you have those type of number? Do you have that type of experience?
So you're saying like you have 22,000 on your list?
Yes.
Right. You're going to probably get 0.2% show up rate, be my guess.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's, email, fewer and fewer people are relying on email.
Yeah.
I mean, there are, it's still effective for sure, right? You still have to use it.
Yeah.
But fewer and fewer people are relying on email. So I think it's an important component of
Okay.
any kind of marketing campaign, any kind of omni-channel marketing campaign. But you can't rely on it to saturate and reach your audience.
Yeah. How do you feel about social media and that and marketing through videos, short form videos, and just constant education to specific audiences?
Well, you have to know where your audience hangs out, right? I mean, that's
Yep.
marketing 101 is, where does your audience hang out? Where do they consume their content? So, commenting, should you use social media? Should you use email? It really just depends on who you're trying to reach. If
Yeah.
if the market hangs out there, yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you have a captive audience, if you have like a group, for example, like a Facebook group that's a captive audience, yeah, for sure, feed them content all the time. So if you have an active Facebook page and people are actually using it, for sure, feed that Facebook page. If it's not working, well, stop spending your time there and find where they're actually hanging out and actually consuming your content.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No. I'm a big believer in determining where is your audience, and because that's going to play a big part in you you know and you connecting with them, right? You got to connect with your audience members, and yeah, that's I firmly believe that.
And there's going to be a certain percent that are on one channel, a certain percent that's on another channel. There's going to be YouTube watchers, there's going to be Facebook browsers, there's going to be some Instagram folks, there's going to be people on TikTok. So I mean, your audience is going to be diverse, but there's going to be a majority somewhere, and then there's going to be a minority elsewhere. So so you got to have you got to stay in tune with your market and know where they're at.
Yeah, I agree.
And is there's like strategies, like some of the strategies are to get traffic, some of the strategy are to get leads, some of the strategies are to make sales, some of the strategies are just to have people fill out forms. Isn't it just all about getting sales? I mean, why would you want to increase traffic?
Well, you want to get sales, right? But in
Yeah.
order to get sales, you have to come up with a marketing solution, right? You have to come up with some kind of way to reach those people, whether it's through in-person events or workshops that you invite people to, or seminars, live seminars, or whether it's digital downloads like lead magnets, or whether you're doing ads to have people sign up for consultations. I mean, all these things, it's just a matter of where you're getting your biggest bang for your buck. There's no right solution. It's just the solution that gives you the biggest bang for your buck, right? And your budget. What you do find is there is some synergy when you use multiple channels at once. In fact, there's a lot of synergies and a lot of studies on that, where if you can target your audience on multiple channels, they see multiple places, you're going to get a bump in overall conversion rates and an overall sales, right? So the answer is there's no right answer to that. It's just you have to have an eye on your market and an omni-channel solution so that you can attract your ideal target customer.
Cool.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Greg, any other questions? Because I'm gonna wrap things up.
No, that's it. That's great.
Jonathan, thanks for joining us today and making time for being on our podcast.
Sure, my pleasure. I did want to mention one other thing, and that is, we really didn't touch on local SEO, and I think a lot of the IT companies that are smaller, for especially local SEO, is really important. So in local SEO, you have to do more Google Business Profile stuff, optimizing that, and keeping the Google Business Profile active and that kind of thing. So that's something Antiva, for example, had like 7 local offices spread around the US. And so we did that kind of service for them as well. We kept their local offices ranked in their local markets.
So when you say local, is that through Google Maps, or are you talking just through Google search?
Yeah, well, Google Maps and Google Business Profile is what drives Google Maps. So a local business has a local address and a local Google Business Profile.
Yeah.
And so on that Google Business Profile, you can upload photos, you can put up posts, that kind of thing. And it's just a little tip, when you're putting up photos, you just don't want to throw up any photo on there. You want to make sure your photo has the right longitude and latitude of your local address. Otherwise, it's really not doing any good for yourself. You can actually engineer that. You can hide the EXIF data on a photo, or get rid of it, I should say, erase it, and add your own longitude and latitude. But so that that's the kind of thing you need to do for local SEO.
I like it. Well, I appreciate you making time for us and for sharing some insightful information. And please hang out just a little bit so we can wrap this up offline. So, and to the audience, thanks for listening. And don't forget to sign up to be a member at www.mspcorner.com. And please share our link with the CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to sign up to be a member on www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have an awesome day.